Muhammad Ali is the most overrated boxer of all time. And this is why. This guy lost 3 of his last 4 fights. One guy he lost to only had 7 fights. The other 2, he's got his ass handed to him. You know, people could say Parkinson, blah, 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 he's old or whatever. But, you know, you can't be the greatest if you lose 3 of your last 4 fights, no matter what age you are. And I don't think Ali would have beaten any of those guys in his prime anyways. Maybe Leon Spinks, but Trevor Berbick and Larry Holmes would have kicked his ass. That's what I think. And Ali was never a good boxer. I read this stupid fucking comment on YouTube saying that Ali's the most scientific boxer of all time. Whatever. Ali, what made him great in the 60s was when he was skinny and lean and not fat. His style was all about speed, footwork, and endurance. And then he had that layoff. He came back in the 70s. This guy was never in shape. He was always overweight. He always came in at 220, 225. In the 70s, Ali came in maybe 4 times in shape. That was for Frazier too, Ollie Norton too. But everything else, you know, Thrill in the Manila, this guy was like 226 pounds. It's way too fat for 6'3". And the beginning of his career, or Muhammad Ali's career, when he won the world championship in the 60s, 1964 if I'm correct, against Sonny Liston, he weighed like 210 pounds. You know, he was always 16 pounds, 20 pounds overweight, which made him a lot slower, and I think he was a very lazy fighter. Larry Holmes himself said that Muhammad Ali trained only 2 weeks for George Foreman, the biggest fight of his career. And by the way, George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali, there's no way Muhammad Ali would have won the rematch. There's no way George Foreman would have fell for that trick again. And Muhammad Ali was not a good boxer. He was not scientific at all. This guy was good at taking punishment. His rope-a-doping was bullshit. This guy always just he just took way too much punishment. I mean, Thrill in the Manila, that's one of the most boring fights I've ever watched in my life. You just see Muhammad Ali just laying against the ropes, and then, you know, he does a little bit here. You know, he never really does much. It's so boring to watch. In the 60s, Muhammad Ali was probably one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, but as soon as, you know, the age comes, the speed went away, endurance went away, and it made him kind of shitty. You know, and he had to take punishment to win. And I don't think that makes him a great boxer, the greatest ever. I think he's massively overrated. Larry Holmes himself said Muhammad Ali's overrated. The guy has no power. You can go look this up on YouTube. But I don't think Muhammad Ali there's no way he would last in the 90s as heavyweight. No way. This guy is the most overrated boxer of all time. He lost to Ken Norton 3 times. Let's be real here. You can maybe said the second fight, Ali kind of edged him. But again, you could also call it in Norton's favor. The third fight between Norton and Ali, Norton got robbed. Plain and simple, he got robbed. You know, he basically lost to Ken Norton 3 times. Really. And Muhammad Ali, you know, he fought a lot of bum fighters. They were bums. You know, a lot of people who are not, you know, he's just so overrated. Who did he really beat? No one really. And most of his opponents in the late 70s were all these fat, overweight motherfuckers. And some of the decisions, I don't know. Like Ernie Shavers or Ali, I think he won some of those decisions just because he was Muhammad Ali. Because some of those, they're pretty, you know, depends on how you scored them. Muhammad Ali would have lost a couple of those fights. You know, he was a cherry picker like crazy. Just go look at the guys he beat. They're all these overweight motherfuckers. He avoided the top competition at the end of his career. But again, who didn't? But Ali's the most overrated boxer of all time. Ever.